Hello friend, welcome to Access Zombie Code. Today I am come again here with a new video of the JavaScript series. Let me show you what we are going to do in this video. So here you can see there is a date time field and one calculate button is there and three number is present in this screen. One for the year, one for the month and another one for the days. If I click any day on this calendar, it will show me that day, and if I click this calculate button, it will calculate from today's date to that selected date. So if I click calculate, this is 13th September and today is 14th September. So if I click that calculate button, here it's showing that one day. If I click previous year September month and today date, so it is 1 year. So if I click calculate button, then it will calculate that the difference is 1 year from the selected date to current date. So let's start the programming. Inside this HTML CSS JavaScript folder, I am going to create a new folder, and that folder name will be date count. And inside this folder, I am going to open my VS Code IDE, and inside this IDE, I am going to create three files, one for the HTML, one for the CSS, and last one for the JavaScript. So I create all the file. So let's start from the HTML. So HTML5, the title of this project will be date calculator. Next, I have to import the CSS file and JavaScript file. For the CSS file, the command is link and the file name is index.css. For the JavaScript file, the command is script, and inside this src I am going to define the file name. So now JavaScript file and the CSS file is imported to the HTML file. Next I am going to do the HTML work. So here I am going to create a div. Inside this div I am going to create another div. In that div contain a class. That class name is inner box. Next it's contain a input tag which is date time, and I'm going to add the button for that calculate. So the command is button. The class of the button is calculate button. And the input field class name is date. Next, going to work any with the name and ID. So I'm delete this from here. Next, I'm going to create another div, and this div contain a class. That class name is number box. Next, I'm going to create another div. So div, and the class name of this is inner box, and here its content to paragraph tag. So paragraph into 2, enter. So my one inner box is ready. Next I will be copy this. Before going to copy this first paragraph contain a class. That class name should be number. Number is used for the style work, and this is for the year. Year class will be JavaScript work, and here the text is year, and the default value is 0. Similarly, I'm going to create another two inner box type div. So 1, 2. This one contain the month, and last one contain days. So I formatted this HTML file, and let's check the preview of this HTML details. So here you can see one date calendar is visible in our screen, one calculate button is also visible, and this paragraph is also visible. After completing the JavaScript work, we'll do that CSS. So first let's complete the JavaScript work. So I am going to use the query selector to take the details of the calculate button. So document dot query selector, and inside this query selector the class name is calculate button, and I am going to assign a variable for this reference. So const equal to calculate equal to this. Next I'm going to add the event listener on this calculate button. So calculate dot add event listener, and here once a user click it will be listen. So click. Next the arrow function, and inside this function I'm going to add all the details. So first, so what is the input field data? First I will take the reference new date, and here the document dot query selector, class name of this is date dot value, and I'm going to assign a variable for this also. So var enter date. Next I'm going to create a variable for the difference of the date and month. So var input date equal to, here is the enter date dot get full year. Next for the month, and last one for the day, and for the day get date, for the month get month. So this input date is ready now. Next let's take a reference variable of the today date. So var date equal to new date, and var date equal to, this is the date of the current date. So get date. Similarly for the month and year, so here get month, and last one is get whole year. So let's put a variable the days of the month. Var month equal to January is 31, February is 28, then 31, then 30, then 31, June, July, then August, then September, October, November and December. So next, if the input date is then the current date. So if input date dot day is then the D2, then it will calculate the difference. So D2 equal to 2 plus M2 minus 1. Next M2 equal to M2 minus 1. If the input month is greater than the current month, so input date dot month is greater than to the current month M2, and inside this bracket M2 equal to M2 plus 12, and it will deduct from the 1 year, so Y2 minus 1. So next I am going to set the value in the HTML field. So document dot query selector, and here I am going to set this value in the class. So the class name is first one for the day. So class name is day dot inner HTML equal to D2 minus input date. Similarly for the month and year. For the month the class name is month, and for the year the class name is year. So here it will be minus from the M2 and input month. This is year, and it will minus from the Y2 value. So let me format this also. So let's check the output first. So here is the date button. If I select yesterday date and click on the calculate button, the difference date is one date. If I select 2021 and current date, so the difference is 2 year. Our program is ready. Let's do the CSS work. So first I am going to set the body details. The background color of this 0, 115 to 55. Next, align item in center, display flex. Next, justify content, center. Next, height 100 vh. So our body is come to this center. So first CSS I am going to set this inner box class. So dot inner box, and inside this inner box the height will be 50 px, the width will be 100%. Next, the background color is black. Next, display type will be flex. Justify content center. Text alignment is center. Next, align item is center. Next, the gap between this button and the date field is 1 rem. Next, the box shadow will be 3px 0.6, and I'm going to set the border radius. So border radius will be 5px. Next, I'm going to create another CS for the next field. So next field is date. Date class I'm going to set here. So date is border will be none. Font size will be 0.8 rem. Next, the width 100 px and height is 20 px, and the border radius will be 4 px. Next, for the padding is 8 px, and next for the calculate button. So calculate, let me copy that from the HTML. So calculate button font size is 0.6 rem, width is 50 px, height is 25 px. Next, I'm going to set the next class CSS. So next CSS class is number box. So number box is height is 100 px, width is 200 px, display flex. Next, justify content is center. Next, align item is center. Next, the transfer is translate y, which is minus 1.0 rem. Next, for the inner box class, the background color is black. The height of the class will be 50 px. The width of the class is 50 px. Next, margin is 5 px. Then border radius will be 5 px. Next, display center, display flex. Justify content is center. Align item is center. Next, the flex direction is column. Next, class name is number. So the color of the class is white. The font size of this class content 1.6 rem. Next, the position is relative. Next, the translate y equal to 1.5 rem. So this program is ready. Let's go to the live server to check how it is working. And here you can see the title of this page is date calculator. Next, if I select any date from here and if I click the calculate button, it will calculate that date. Next, check the debugging process. So let's first put all the debug point in all the place. If I select the date is first zone and click on the calculate button, it will come to the enter date value. Next, it show you what is the entered date here. Next, it will going to the input date line. So next, it calculate the input date array is content, the year is 2022, the month is 5 and the date is 1. So next it will go to the current date. So current date is 14th September. So the day2 value set here 14. The month value is 8 because it's calculating from the 0. And next the year is 2022. So here the month array content 12 value. Next it check the input date is greater than current date. So it's not going to inside this if condition. So here it check that input date is greater than current date. So the condition is false. So it's not going to inside this if condition. Next it's going to the month. For the month, here also it's found false. So it's come outside. The current input value is year is 2022, month is 5 and days is 1. And my day2 value is 14, my month value is 8 and my year value is 2022. Here it's going to set that value. So here the day2 value is 14 and input date is 5. So it will deduct from the day2 value. Next for the month and for the year, and at the end it set in the respective class details, respective given class. So here in the browser you can see that the value is come, the year is 0, the month is 3 and the day is 13. So the difference from the current date and the selected date is 3 months and 13 days. So now you understand that how you can debug the program, and you also understand how this date calculator is work. Hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for subscribing our channel and liking our videos. See you next time with another JavaScript programming video.